everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tuber. Welcome back. If this is your fourth Heal Season 2 episode review, hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big old world. Yes, I got a haircut. New set. Actually, did we use this set last week? I don't think so. I could be confused. I think we used the mirror set. It's been a very long week for me, really. It's been a whole freaking week. Like, a lot has happened. I reviewed so much High School Musical. I've done so much in my life. It's crazy. Summer's coming to an end. I have to go traveling again in a couple weeks, which I'll talk about more about how that affects Heals in the next couple of minutes. But yeah, to come back to this world, also, we're officially halfway done with Season 2. Like, as of this episode, we are now halfway done, which is, again, crazy to believe that over a year ago, we were waiting for Season 2, and now Season 2 is halfway over. And again, the show's still firing on all cylinders. This was kind of like a little bit of a slow week, just a little bit. Again, not every episode in like a masterpiece season is going to be like, oh my god, every episode. Like, this felt like more like we are now building up pieces for the next thing. It's kind of like how they do with the shows. Like, not every show is going to be this, oh my god, amazing, like, this is going to change everything type of ordeal. No, you're going to have these slower episodes that do have some groundbreaking things, but they're mostly setting up things for, like, the bigger reveal, the bigger wows and all that. And, you know, it happens sometimes. It happened. Not to say this episode was bad or anything. I'm not trying to say that at all. This episode was still really great. I'm not trying to take it away against from that. But when you had three amazing episodes that each of them focused on something very monumental and big for the story, like, obviously, like, that's great. Those episodes were all like paying off stuff that Season 1 was setting up. Now we're in like, okay, now we need to set up new thing. We need to like start building the ground back up. It's like when people complain about like now when Endgame ends, it's like, oh, we want Endgame 2 now. I'm like, guys, they're doing that. Just wait, be patient. Like, it takes some time. Obviously, those are two different type of ordeal, but it's still the same similarity where like the setup for the next thing does take a while. It's not going to be ASAP. It isn't. But this episode was still really great. I love the fact that this played a different approach. Like, it's a slower build. It keeps you on your toes on like what is going to happen next. And it's one of those, again, like with this how it all ended. It's like we know what the new end game is going to be. We know that now, and that's what we're building towards. It's just a matter of like which character is going to break and which character is going to be like, oh my god, this is not what I was anticipating. So I can't wait to see how things are going to all turn up in the end. But overall speaking, I really enjoyed this episode so much. I love the show to death. And I think there's a good chance that when the season's over, it's going to be on my top 10 list of all time. Like, of all the shows I've watched. Which is like, it's extremely hard. The only recent entry was The Rookie. So I'm like, it's a really tall bar to reach. So if this season can, like, you know, guarantee itself a masterpiece of a second season, I think that we have a good chance. They have a good chance. With that being said, let's go for the Butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Heels. So we begin with a very, very, very long overdue, passionate lovemaking scene between Jack and Stacy. They haven't had sex with each other. They probably haven't boned each other in like a good couple of months. And yeah, that's the one thing. Like, we need some soft core. Like, you know, it's basically like they're having sex, but there's a blanket covering them. So I'm like, you really can't say about like, yeah, this officially solidifies that, yeah, Stacy has really forgiven Jack, or at least is willing to like get back to how things were used to be, just in a newer fashion, so to speak. And they're trying to like do things a little bit different now, like more communication, more honesty, more transparency between them. That's the only real way they can like make everything work. Ace is living out of the garage now for the time being while he's trying to figure out what his next step is. And yeah, it's kind of like a new beginning. Like, the first three episodes were morely like finishing up the stems from Season 1 while setting up stuff for Season 2. This felt like a true, like, we are going forward. Like, we are progressing forward to the next thing we need to reach for. Jack tells her about the deal that he made with Gully, the leader of the Florida dystopia. I'm just called dystopia. I'm too freaking lazy for the anagrams today. And he's very angry. He's like, he's got no choice. He's back to a quarter of this. He's gonna lose the entire DWL if he doesn't do this. So he has no choice but to do so. And, you know, obviously there's nothing they can do about it. But the least they can do, at least that's what Stacey recommends Jack to try, is like, why don't you at least appeal to Gully? Like, try to at least mend the bridge enough to like that the next, until the match comes out, it's at least a manageable expectation. Like, okay, yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be A-okay. And he tries to do so. He tries. He fails. It doesn't work. Gully's like literally like the epitome of being an asshole. Like, he's an asshole for the sake of being an asshole. Not to say that's a lazy character show, but at the same time, like, when you have this type of show, when you're in showbiz, you're gonna have one of those people where, like, they don't give a shit about anything. They only care about their own pockets and, like, their own agendas. Like, there really isn't anything they could have done there. So yeah, so they got no other choice but to keep going onwards. And so they're gonna schedule the month in 1 month from now, which is ironic. In 4 weeks, guess how many more weeks to the finale? 4 weeks. So I'm like, it's like they're purposely like, yeah, we're setting up already the end game for the season. Now we just gotta, build our way towards there. So yeah, Jack has no choice but to do so, and they're gonna at least this issue with this entire thing is that Dystopia is more brash and aggressive. They don't really plan stuff that well. They just do very, very, very messed up stuff to get views, while Jack's obviously is the more traditional storytelling approach. So it can get quite a bit difficult for them to mash up, but they're willing to meet halfway where, like, they will accept some dystopia, let's call it that, but Jack's still going to, like, at least write how the DWL is going to, like, segue into this man, at least. And of course, obviously, Gully's going to send over some of his people to, like, make the transition seamless for them, which of course includes Rooster, who still has a very, very big bone to peck at with Jack over there. Jack also meets up with Ace over breakfast, trying to, like, see if, like, okay, they got Crystal on their field, but, like, having Ace back would be another big boom to them. That could be a really big thing. They could have a trilogy of, like, the Spade brothers, Wild Bill, and Crystal Tyler. This could be enough to, like, really push the DWL forward in case the freaking match doesn't go so well. But Ace is like, nah, like, as much as he's okay with the idea of being back in Duffy, he doesn't want to immediately go back to wrestling. He wants to see if he can find something else he can do and see if he can find his footing, elsewhere. But right now, he doesn't feel like wrestling is, going to suit his, what he needs to figure out what's next for his life. Which Jack agrees, but, like, the offer's still on the table that, that if he ever does want to return, the offer is still there. Willie is it Willie? Yeah, Willie's at the in the manager's office. He's taking some money out of the safe, a lot of money. So it's, like, kind of suspicious. Like, why is she doing this? Like, obviously we know there's, like, the DWL owes a lot of debts, and again, considering the fact that they supposedly blew the hell up after the carnival, that they're like, oh, you guys are rich now. Like, okay, so now those IOUs are going to become cold hard cash, right? And considering the fact that Jack has been off, like, trying to focus on his family and everything, obviously Willie's had to take the bulk of the work and, like, actually focus on the financial aspect of the business, which honestly is the most scariest part than actually running the business, because money and, like, loss, gains, like, they can get scary to the person. So she takes the money and runs. We cut over to convention. We're at a wrestling convention. Wild Bill has recruited. I forgot his name. He's his new podcast host, one of the wrestlers for the DWL. He brings him along. It's kind of like, his I forgot the name of the it's like their money person, the money person for this event. And this is mainly they're there to, like, build that Wild Bill, continue his reputation, sign autographs, meet fans, also try to record some episodes of their podcast while they're down over there promoting the DWL as well. So it's kind of like business, and I'm like, again, like, I've been to a couple cons before, but I've never been to, like, one of these wrestler cons or, like, these smaller crowd. Like, they're not for me. They really are. But I can understand for a lot of people that, like, okay, this is a pretty big deal for them. I think the last time we saw this was back in the series premiere where, like, the DWL was doing, like, those autograph signings in front of their arena. So, yeah. So I want to say we cut back over to I forgot. I completely forgot. So after last week's debacle with, like, the whole, like, men versus women, like, fighting each other, especially women getting beat up by men, with just how things are in the public eye right now, isn't really a good look for, like, the angle they're going to pitch for, like, Crystal fighting off all the men wrestlers for the DWL. It doesn't seem like a good look for them right now, considering the fact they're on the upward trend of, like, we're going up in views, we're going up in attention, but, like, if we do that with the current climate, it might not be positive to them. So they decided they're going to officially enact a DWL Women's League. So Crystal will be rebranded as the Women's Champion, and that means she gets a new belt. She's okay with this, at least. She's actually like, okay, you know what? I can manage with this. She's still the champ, just not the main champ anymore. She's just the Women's Champ. And she's going to usher in a new era of female fighters for the DWL, starting with their first one, which is El Dorado, or something like that. Who is a recent acquire for DWL. She just got let go, I believe, from another place. At least is what a line she says later in the episode. She says she actually has some pretty mad skills, and she has much more experience than Crystal. Crystal's only had like a few matches under her belt, despite not, separate from the valet stuff. So now in this forefront, like her actually like fighting off someone who actually has a lot more experience than her that has been through so much, then this could be a little bit problematic for her. It's like, like, okay, like I was the only woman, I like really created a role, or like, but if there's other people out there and like, they also get the spotlight, where does that leave me? Yeah, then I want to say we're at the con. Wild Bill's having a signing montage, meeting fans, and like, it's your traditional con stuff. I think it's a little bit fake because like usually actors are like kind of like, okay, going for the motions kind of ordeal, but they're skipping through that. They're doing well. There's this one fan that kind of creeps out Wild Bill who's like, yeah, let's take a picture with our dicks out, which I'm like, the fuck? What the fuck is this? I mean, just because he says vulgar language on the stage does not mean, yeah, buddy, whip your dick out. Like, no. And he's like, oh, don't worry about, like, the comparison. Like, my wife's here. She's totally okay with it. Let's go to the bathroom and compare sizes. I'm like, yeah, it's not like when I go to conventions, I meet these actors. Hey, can I look at your, like, I'm not going there. I'm not even going to go there. Eventually they kick him out. Like, everything seems to be running up well. Then Wild Bill runs into some of his old wrestler pals when he was part of the other league. And they reunite. They're having fun. Obviously, joshing around is just like, hey, we haven't seen each other in a while, how you doing? Like, getting back into the motion of it. Obviously, Wild Bill's mostly trying to do this for a transactional reason, trying to get it for his podcast and stuff like that. One wrestler's like really like, hey, I missed you, man. Like, how you doing? The other one's kind of like quiet, just like, yeah, I'm just here. That's about it. Really the size of a pepperoni pizza, which I'm like, that probably going to cost me like $8 for a fucking slice of pepper. I never understand why when I go to conventions, like, and obviously this is the same thing when you go to movie theaters and when you go to like concert venues and everything, where like all the food's just overcharged. Like, it makes no sense. Like, I went to a concert recently, but an off-brand cola. Yeah, off-brand. They didn't even have the rights to the official Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola. I wouldn't even take it Pepsi. But no, they had a store brand Diet Cola. And they charge $5 for the off-brand Diet Cola. You can buy the can of Coca-Cola across the street at deli for like $2 now. Maybe $2.50. I'm not sure how much it's worth now. I don't drink that much soda anymore. But I'm like, $5? $5 and that's not even considering the food. Like, the food's overpriced too. But guess what? They take away all your food because like, oh, it's a liability. It could be a weapon. I'm like, if I bring a freaking hot dog, what am I gonna do with it? Choke someone out with it? Actually, never mind. Let's not go far with that point. Wild Bill's joshing around with his old friends, and he's like, hey, we should get dinner tonight. Maybe record the podcast. Catch up for old time's sake. So they agree. They agree to do so, and they leave it at that for now. Jack tells everyone the news about the upcoming match with the Dystopia people. Obviously, they're kind of like, okay, like, it's not what we really want to do right now. But I'm like, Jack doesn't really tell them the full reason why. It's like, we gotta do it. That's it. So we're gonna cut a promo right now, setting up the storyline for that one when we get there. So that's what we're gonna do today to get that ready to go. So he tells 3 of the boys to get outside in their uniforms to like get ready to shoot a video, not a video, cut a promo. Chris is going to stay behind and help get a rapport going with Ella, so that when they get on the field this Saturday, they have a nice, good already rhythm to it, which it's not a bad idea. It's not really a bad idea, but obviously Chris is still a bit concerned about, hey, she's the new girl, she's also the new fighter. Obviously, everyone's going to have all of her attentions on her, so it's like, yeah, I'm not really surprised about that. Jack also calls up Stacy to see if she can cover for Willie because she's AWOL. Again, where is Willie with all that money? I really don't know. But Stacy volunteers to step in, take care of some of Willie's responsibilities for the week. Which I forgot. Did Stacy even have a job? Oh no, did she have a job from season 1? I don't believe so. I think she was just a stay-at-home wife, but I could be wrong though. Actually, wait, did she work part-time oh no, she was applying to be, I completely forgot. I'm already lost. Season 1 was so long ago. I should find an excuse to rewatch it eventually. So yeah, she volunteers to step over for it. Willie's actually passed out on her bedroom floor. Apparently she was drinking or doing something the night before. Very left unclear what the hell Willie's been up to lately. But her husband's like, yeah, I just left you on the floor. I don't care. Again, like prevalent that her more and more responsibility, more of her time is being spent at the DWL than like being at home is like starting to affect him a little bit, considering just everything that's been going on lately. Wild Bill's at dinner with the other two wrestlers. He's trying to get like good material for his podcast. But these guys kind of mellowed out a little bit. They're not really as aggressive as very much talkative as they were when they were still active, because these two are retired wrestlers. They're no longer active on the ring. And Wild Bill's trying to get something out of it, trying to josh them up a little bit, trying to hey, remember this thing or remember that thing, or how's this going? And he's not getting anything. Nothing's hitting to the ordeals. Then they one of the wrestlers turning around on him is like, you ever think about retiring? Like, you're getting older. Like, better you retire now and try to find something you can do. Like, get married, have a kid, get a hobby, manage to use your remaining body parts to do something productive with your life. Like, something at least. And Wild Bill takes this as an insult. Eventually, one of the wrestlers leaves on his own. The other one eventually leaves just because of the fact that Wild Bill is I understand, I can't understand, the entertainment side of things, when is the right time to retire or anything. I don't have that much, knowledge about the baseball, considering the fact that Wild Bill could have handled it a little bit differently. He could have handled it a little bit more nicely than the way he did. Just goes to show that Wild Bill's only caring about himself right now and just really wants to, focus on this is all I got left. I got nothing else. I got this and Bupkis. I got the wrestling and my dick. That's basically all I got. I got no choice but to continue this onwards and not really listen to them. So he leaves everyone in a huff as well, just kind of aggravated with the whole situation right now. Ace is also tasked with taking care of Jack and Stacy's son for the time being. I forgot his name already, but so yeah, they're spending the day together, just trying to get their mind off things, with life and everything. They go by a nearby gas station to get some Slurpees. That's where Ace meets Crystal again for the first time since the festival. Again, no one in the DWO was notified that Ace was back. Ace kind of wanted to keep this on the down low with his return. Only he wants to come back when he's fully ready to admit he's back, but right now he's just not. They talk a little bit about Ace catches her up on everything that happened with him with the camping trip, and he also tells her I know what's been going on with you. You're killing it in the DWL. I also know you're dating Bobby. Oh, that's his name. I remember his name now. That he's happy that she's happy. He's very happy with that, and she's found her footing, and now it's time for Ace to find his footing right now in this new world. He goes outside to find the kid, his nephew, but he doesn't find him. But he just finds him sitting down on one of the pumps, just traumatized because he accidentally got the crown, Tom's crown, his grandpa's crown, pulled away by a car. And now it's not as fully destroyed, but it's smushed and everything. And obviously it's he's so sorry. But Ace is actually taking it kind of calmly. He's not overreacting. He's it's okay. It's okay. It's good. It's a good sign that, Ace is growing up a little bit. He's growing up a little bit more. They return back to the house. They're just talking about Tom and everything about that Ace ever got to wrestle him. He's no. Did Jack ever get to wrestle him? He's yeah, but in a playful sense, never in an official matchup or anything. So, yeah, I know. So they're they talk about, oh, what if you get into the ring when you get older? And he's nah, I don't think Dad wants me to go in right now. I'm pretty small. But Ace tells him it doesn't matter about your height, doesn't matter about your size, doesn't matter about anything. What you are. Anyone can be a wrestler if they want to. So they play wrestle for a bit. They're having fun, and that kind of triggers something in Ace's memory about how when he was on the ring for the first time, just that joy of entertainment, the fun energy he used to have before things got melodramatic and everything. Then eventually cues him enough to go back to the DWL arena while everyone's busy to get back into it, kind of feel the mat again, get back in the motions a little bit. But he's not quite he doesn't want to step back in still. He's okay, I dipped my toe in the water. That's about it for now. I'm going to go back and do my thing again. We'll come back to him later. Jack and the others are cutting the promo. I don't know how the hell they got a tank, but they do, and they're using it as a prop, and they were trying to set up an explosion, but it doesn't really go up to the full extent that they will. Rooster shows up saying that hey, that was not that bad, not a bad promo. I can't wait for you to see what you're gonna write for my promo next weekend. And that's when Jack reminds, oh right, gotta write you one too. I don't like this whatsoever. I really don't. I want to say we get to. I know there's a scene. I know there's a scene where Stacy is trying to handle the beer vendors, and a lady, I'm assuming one of the people that Willie owes, well, the DWL owes money to, shows up asking for Willie, but she's not around. So she's like, "Oh no, I don't know where Willie is. I don't know. Like, maybe come back tomorrow or something." Like, she's like, "Okay, sorry to bother you." So it's like, again, like very suspicious of what everything's going on right now. I want to say, yeah, no. So one thing I do forget, I do remember is that Crystal and El Dorado are talking about like Ella. I keep calling her by her full station name. Ella are just doing a prep match, just getting a rehearsal ready to go before the next night, and she's kind of like just describing her experience in the league so far. Like, like, oh, all these leagues want to do like the get women involved, kind of get them as like the big hook in, but when you have a limited roster, you kind of go for all the storyline possibilities pretty quickly, and then you're basically let go because there's nothing really you can do. So it's like she's been traveling from one league to the next, just like, okay. Like, she doesn't think the DWL is going to be a long-lasting phase. It's just temporary, at least until Dystopia match is over. So I'm like, will she stay on board? I don't know. It just depends how things go. Obviously, Crystal is a little bit more like hopeful that like, no, Jack's got this. Like, he's a master of writing scripts, so like he should be able to keep a storyline going for both of us for a long time. It's like, I don't know about that. Jack's been very much like, he's in a better mood now, but like doesn't guarantee like he's gonna like stick to his guns every week, for the rest of his life for y'all. So she goes back home. Ace comes to her door, and I'm like, oh no. We're not doing a cheating storyline, please. I can't. No, don't go down this stereotypical road. But they don't. Ace asks her for a favor, which I assume is dyeing his hair, and so she agrees to do so. But like the way it was shot, like like she's just washing Ace's hair with the water when his clothes are off, and I'm like, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, I understand that's the process, but I'm like, yeah, you could have shot that pretty differently, where like it's not insinuating that Crystal is still having some physical attraction to Ace, and while she's with Bobby, thankfully nothing happened. At least what we're aware of, nothing happened. She just dyed her hair, and that's about it. Ace leaves, Bobby comes in, and like Bobby's like, not the jealous type, but he's like, oh, Ace is back, and he's like, yeah, but like he wants to keep it on the down low. But I don't care about that. Like, I'm here for you, and they start kissing pretty passionately, and we cut over to the next night. Where it's the DWL night. Everyone's raring to go. It's another big turnout, so I'm like, still a big victory for them. I know Rooster was not impressed with the original script that Jack presented him. Jack's like, again, expressing that I literally have no choice. Like, I do not want to write for you. I'm literally doing this so I don't get sued. So guess what? Whatever I write is what you get. But Rooster does make a point of like, at least try. At least like, yeah, it may not be the situation you want to be in, but like, at least try. Put a little more effort into it. Or let me at least ad-lib some things. So Jack rewrites the script so that it more accommodates Rooster's current style. So at least Jack is more open now and then to that possibility. I know Stacy walks in on Willie doing a transaction with that woman from earlier, and also Willie talking to Jack about it. So like, kind of little soft now. Now Stacey's a little concerned, like what's going on, what's really happening over here. Like, obviously, again, she's being left out of the loop or like something to that effect. So we'll find out eventually what's up with that. Eventually, we will. Yeah, so they're kicking off the match. Oh, before we start the match, I apologize, but Wild Bill talks to Willie about like, hey, since I'm gonna be part of the DWL for a while, like, I think it's best if I find an apartment around here so that I could like have like a place to call home. At least that's indicated that Wild Bill does want to stay with the DWL at least a while longer, so that he needs an actual permanent place of residence. So Willie's like, okay, I'll help you find an apartment somewhere somehow, but we'll come back to more of that later. They begin the festivities where they announce officially, like, yes, there's going to be a DWL Women's League. Crystal will be the champion for that league, and now there's a vacancy for the men's champion role, leaving once again the belt up for grabs again. So it's not Jack, it's not Wild Bill, it's not any of the current rosters. So like the belt's back in play, but it's not a champion. It's not a belt match. It's not. So they kick off on Crystal's first match with Ella Dorado. Again, like, seeing Ella like actually have this experience and like Crystal like with her quirky newness definitely works out pretty well for them. It does make for an entertaining match. Again, that's why you strike when the iron's hot. You give the audience what they want, which is more of what they've been enjoying, and they killed it. They have a fantastic performance out there, so that works out to a T for them. I want to say we get to. Yeah, so I want to say we get to the men's tag team next. I think that's the next thing in order. And they're about to start, but then Rooster comes in, says his monologue. Again, like setting up the seats for like the eventual dystopia matchup in a month from now. So to get them on the roster, everyone does not like Rooster, considering the fact he betrayed them last time he was on stage. So no one's really a big fan of Rooster right now, but they're using that to his advantage to like, make him a heel into the eyes of the DW as he's returning to the league. Eventually he leaves, the actual match starts up again. And it's going for the similar motion, it's just a fun, entertaining match. Eventually, they start dwindling down the numbers. Then one of the off-name wrestlers that I do not remember their names for comes in with like rabies foaming out of his mouth. I don't know what's going on, really. He starts foaming around the arena. He starts like going around trying to bite the wrestlers. Eventually, he's alone in the cage, and then all of a sudden, Rooster and another dystopia fighter comes into the ring, takes him down, and it seems like, okay, we're just setting up the matchup of like, the dystopia people are here to stay around for a while longer. But then the lights go dark as Rooster's like, holding the DWL belt. It's like, what's going on? This wasn't part of the script. And all of a sudden, this mysterious figure falls out of the heavens, or like falls out of the freaking second floor viewing area. And he arrives down, kicks both of them off of the arena. Nobody knows who he is. He just says, I am here. I'm looking for redemption. And that's all I'm here for. He has a new name. He has a name. I forgot what the name is. But when you reveal a close-up shot to him, it's Ace. Ace has dyed his hair black. He's got war makeup on. He's reinvented himself. Now, whether or not this was part of Jack's plan from the beginning, or this is just Ace just shooing in to, like, make his mark again, we don't really know. But at least for now, like, yeah, Ace is coming back to the DWL, but in a new way, his way. How will that all play out? How will that all really come to an end in the second half of the season? We'll find out next time, because that was it for this week's episode of Heels. Again, this was a really great episode. It really was. This was mainly set up, but, like, in a very entertaining way. Jack kind of being more open to things, kind of being more like, communicative than before. He's still pretty much gun-ho on like, yeah, this entire dystopia deal is just like biting his ass right now. Like, he was so close, this close to like having it all, and then he has this obstacle in his way. I'm like, damn it, he's just got to deal with a whole month of this bullshit, a whole month of Gully, a whole month of Rooster. It's like, I don't know if Jack's gonna come back and like, rip some heads off, but like he's trying his best here. I'll give him that. I really will give him that. Ace kind of coming on this new approach a little bit, like, him spending time with his nephew, kind of giving him, like, the rekindling of, like, I could go back to wrestling, but this time on my own terms. That definitely is going to be interesting to contrast with Jack, who's much more scripted, much more, kind of, like, stick to a T over here. So, will this come to a butt of heads again between the brothers, or, like, is Jack's going to be open to Ace's storyline possibility just to allow Ace to stay in town so he can keep an eye on his brother? We'll find out then. Crystal being a little bit, like, shy about the whole aspect. Like, she's down for the women's league idea, but, like, the fact there will be other women fighters who will probably have much more experience than her is a little bit concerning to her. She just feels like she might get replaced. It is a feeling of, like, like, you're the shining star for a little bit, then someone else comes in, like, takes your thunder. Like, how do you really feel about that? Like, is that something that, like, you really are comfortable with? So, definitely her going through that. It's going to be pretty interesting to say the least. Hopefully the Ella will stay around for a while to, like, be a good foil to her right now speaking. And yeah, Willie kind of going off the deep end a little bit, with like, what is she doing in the night with all the money? Still a big question mark. Wild Bill kind of like, having like a midlife crisis with like, is wrestling really the thing he wants to do for the rest of his life, or at least his able-bodied life? Again, we really don't know. We really don't know. But it's engaging. It's like actually progressing these characters further to like some of them to better places, some of them in darker places, and sometimes just in a better place in general. But no, yeah, but like, I really loved everything that they had to demonstrate here, and I really can't wait to see how this is all going to pay off in the next episode, and then like obviously going into the end of season 2. So I'm very excited about that. I really am. I feel like Heels is turning into like one of the best television shows on the network right now, which I'm very excited for. But with that being said, I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up. I enjoyed it so much. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this week's episode of Heels. Let's have a conversation down below, as always. But I believe that's going to do for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's the Two from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the second season of Heels. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's the Two besides our Heels episode reviews. Right now, we are currently doing Nancy Drew and High School Musical, the series episode reviews each and every week after brand episodes on their respective platform. But if you don't care about Heels, your luck. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode review, but just an asterisk that it'll be a little bit different the next 2 weeks at least. So next week, I have a prior engagement on Friday, so I will not be able to review it live. I believe a High School Musical episode, a High School Musical review is going to go instead of that week. But the next day will be Heels. It'll just be a day late. And then the following week, I will not be on our usual setup. I'll be in another state for a mini vacation. I won't even have time to even bother to watch the episode, so I'm going to have to wait till I come back. So that episode review, episode 6, will be a little bit late, like not late than usual. I do apologize, but after episode 6 is done, then going forward, it'll be live for 7 and 8, and then our usual ending rigmarole. So just brace yourself in the next couple of weeks. We are reviewing them. It's just we're going to be a little bit late on them, so I do apologize for that. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring the bell and follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, for all you Heels out there, I'll see y'all next week, a little bit late for the next episode review. But until then, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.